For people from outside, the real natural thing is to think about the future. What's next year going to look like? What's the future of the program going to look like? How do you guys focus on the here and now?
I mean, that's just our responsibility to concentrate on the moment that we're in, to concentrate on practice today, getting better at practice individually, collectively. We tweaked some things over the last couple of days in terms of our offense. Obviously, putting an onus on a big onus on our defense and getting better guarding the ball and gapping the ball. So, we can't control what's going to happen in the future. The only thing that we can control is the day. So we want to seize the day and get better one day at a time and see what happens going forward. And we really feel like if we can focus on that, some good things will happen for us down the stretch.
Mike, in terms of getting mentally reset, with having the past week off, what has that done for you guys as you look forward to Miami?
I think it was good for us to get away from it a little bit for a couple of days. The thing is, those guys stayed in the gym. I unfortunately had to get back home to take care of some family matters, but I was back in the gym, back in town on Saturday. Our assistant coaches ran a really good, for what I understand, skill workout on Saturday, but guys were in the gym Thursday and Friday and really never took a day off. As a team, obviously as a group, we took off, but those guys stayed in the gym, got a lot of shots, worked on their skill set. So these kids have far from given up on this season, and as a staff, that's ridiculous to think that anybody, in fact, in our entire locker room in this building has given up on anything. We feel like the best is yet ahead. I know that that's hard to believe for a lot of people, our fan base, media. I can't control what anybody else thinks. I'm just worried about these guys, our staff, and moving forward.
Mike, after the Notre Dame game, you said you guys are going to find people that are going to go out and compete, scratch, and claw. Mm-hmm. Have you changed anything up in practice, or have you found what you were looking for?
Well, again, like I said, we've altered some things offensively. Want to have a different approach there. Of course, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag on that. Defense is a huge deal. Always has been. When I was talking about changing some things up and finding 5 guys, we need 5 guys that are going to get after it on the defensive end. Doesn't mean we're always going to get a stop, but we have to have 5 guys on the floor consistently throughout the game that are making a concerted effort to guard the ball, gap the ball, understand their assignment and ball screen coverage, block out, rebound, play the game the right way on both ends of the floor. And hopefully that's more than 5 guys. But we always compete. We always get after each other in practice. We have introduced, I should say, in the last couple of days, and will again today, some different drills, some things to mix it up and re-engage our guys and give them a better feel for how we want to do things on both ends of the floor. But large in part, we are who we are. We just have to get better at who we need to be.
Mike, it sounds like the competition was pretty big over this past week, especially when they going in there on their own. Have you been, is it making it a little bit more difficult on who you might put on the floor, the starting 5, coming this next game? Yeah,
it is. It actually is. Today we had a staff meeting. We talked about who we think the potential starters are. Definitely some guys moving up and making that decision a lot more interesting and harder for us. A lot of that will be predicated on today's practice, who can be coachable, who can come out and be productive and play hard and know their job and do their job at a high level. So it's good to see, the competition in practice every day.
You mentioned before Notre Dame that JJ had maybe his 2 best practices of the year going into that. Has he responded coming out of that well?
Yeah, he actually has. He's obviously far from perfect, but nobody is in the game of basketball, not just on our team, but he's trying, right? He's competing. There's still some things that we've been on him about from the start of the year that he's still struggling with, but nonetheless, you can see the effort, you can see the passion, you can see the commitment to him trying to do the right things, and that's gone a long way with our staff. We've noticed.
Elle was in here saying, it's been a tough year, obviously, but these guys, in the grand scheme of things, are still living pretty good lives. Mm-hmm. And he said you talked to them about winning at life. Mm-hmm. Is that something you try to stress when things have been as adverse as they've kind of been?
Yeah, I think you got to stress that when things are adverse, when things are good. You want these kids to have a life outside of the game. Obviously the game is a big part of who they are, but it can't be everything. It can't represent them in totality. Want our guys to maintain great relationships with their family and their friends and to enjoy as much of their college experience as possible. And I think that you can do both. I think that you can do that and come in there and come in the gym and practice hard, really hard for 2 hours. I think that you can carve out time individually to get better and improve your individual skill set and still have a social life and still, like I said, maintain relationships with family and friends and enjoy your experience. You only get to go to school once, as we all know. And those 4 years are fleeting. They fly by. And so even in the midst of a losing streak here, I want those guys to live their lives and enjoy it.
That being said, how much does this team just need a win?
Yeah, extremely, extremely bad. We need a win. I think that a win will, in my estimation, really revitalize this group and, give us even more hope. Like, all hope isn't lost, even in the midst of this losing streak. But a win could really, open up the floodgates and get us really thinking about March and going to Brooklyn and doing something special. But it starts with getting one win. And obviously, goes without saying, being able to beat a really good Miami team here at home on Wednesday is the one we need to get.
Mike, when you look at Miami, what has made them have a season that is a lot better than maybe what a lot of people thought they could do?
Yeah, well, Coach Larinaga, first and foremost, is a phenomenal coach. He actually played against Coach Larinaga, so I guess we're both getting a lot older. When he was back at George Mason, for the record, my Delaware team beat that George Mason team. But he's a phenomenal coach. He's been around a long time. It was just a matter of time before he got back on the right track and got a group of guys in there that were willing to adhere to what he wants to do. And they've obviously got a lot of talented as well. That doesn't hurt. Isaiah Wong is a phenomenal player. Charlie Moore comes in. They're like the oldest team. They're like the Lakers, right? They're the oldest team out there right now. They got all types of 6-year guys. And, so again, Moore and McGusty and Wong, I think they really drive their offensive attack. But Wardenberg is big for them. He really facilitates their offense and is really intelligent in how he goes about attacking, dribble handoffs, ball screens, the way he can pass and shoot it. And then they're getting great contributions from a guy like Miller, who's shooting the ball well, GMU transfer, as well as Anthony Walker. And so they have a good thing going. I think that everybody on their team feels comfortable in their own skin and their role, and they're playing at a high level. And it's going to be a tough one, but it's one that we can absolutely get.
What makes Wong such a tough cover?
Wong is he's old school, man. Not only can he shoot the ball, and I know he's not shooting it great from three, only at 29%, but he's more than a capable three-point shooter. But he's a kid that's, you see him make shots off the glass. Kids don't do that much anymore. So he's a dynamic scorer that just has a knack for scoring the ball at all three levels. He's a big, strong, physical kid. He's athletic. He can handle the ball. He can create his own shot. He can make catch and shoot threes. We have to do a tremendous job on him in terms of keeping him away from the basket and outside the paint and contesting his three, but primarily putting an emphasis on keeping him out of the lane.
Mike, how has Matt Cross kind of approached game prep this week, given that he is a Miami transfer? How motivated is he? Yeah,
that'd be a great question for Matt. I certainly don't want to get into his head on that. I can imagine what's running through his head, being a former Miami guy, knowing their staff, knowing the players, having really good relationships and good memories. But at the same time, he left for a reason. So, I'll talk to him more about that. But Matt's Matt. He's not going to make too big of a deal about that. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to have a good game against his former school, and we're going to give him the opportunity to do that. And he had a good practice yesterday. We'd love to see him follow it up with another good practice today.
Mike, I don't know if anybody's mentioned this or you're aware of it, but a 6-game losing streak. The last 7-game losing streak here was 1941. How does that number strike you?
Yes, it's too many losses in a row. Even given everything that we've been through, I think a lot of people would look at our current situation and be like, okay, that makes sense that they would be in a predicament that they're in, but it doesn't make sense to us. We're not okay with that. We want to win a game, and hopefully we can snap that streak tomorrow night. Thank you.